morning and welcome to Brunch, a taste of Tobago. I am your host, JW Moore, otherwise known as J Soul, and I am here to take you, as usual, guys, on a wonderful, wonderful journey. Remember, Brunch is broadcasting to you live from the Tobago Updates Network. We are also hailing from Facebook, YouTube, and of course the Amplia Network 102. As usual, guys, it is such a pleasure. It is an honor to be here. And remember, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, Brunch seeks to inspire, educate, inform, and empower. Yes, that's what we're here for. And I am just a small part of the team that makes it happen right here on Tobago Updates Television. A special good morning goes out to my colleague, Miss Candice Jackson, on her wonderful show, Good Morning Tobago, which aired before this morning. I hope you guys were informed. I hope you guys were fulfilled, because that's what we do right here on Tobago Updates Television. Before I move on, a special birthday greeting goes out to Damian Moore. Good morning to you, my loving husband and friend. Good morning and a blessed Earth Strong to you. I hope that you enjoy the day. For those of you who are joining us, once again, we go to the good stuff segment. I take you first to the news day, and it's really interesting. TT Film Fest to open with doubles. Yes, you heard it, guys. I'm going to say it again, just so you make sure that what you heard is actually what you heard. TT Film Fest to open with doubles. Yes. Film co-chairman Derwin Howell unveiled the TT Film Festival 2023 poster designed by Newsday's graphic artist Warren LePlatte at the festival launch on September 4th at the VIP Lounge, Hazley Crawford Stadium, Port of Spain. The 18th edition of the TTT Film Festival will be launched with the premiere of the film Doubles and includes several local short films. Festival organizers and filmmakers collaboratives of Trinidad and Tobago announced this on September 4th at the festival launch press conference at the VIP Lounge, Hazley Crawford Stadium, Port of Spain, Trinidad. The festival will have its opening night on September 20th at the Queen's Hall, St. Anne's, with doubles by writer-director Ian Hanarine, who was born in Canada to parents from T&T, and its feature-length sequel, his award-winning 2011 short film Doubles with Slight Pepper. I love it. I haven't seen it, but I love it. So we're going to go to the Newsday and check that out, guys. Next, I want to talk about this amazing young lady. She is dubbed the voice of the air. Aisha Manrique, the unforgettable voice in the sky. Aisha is dubbed the voice in the sky, the perfectly toned voice that introduces the presenters behind the curtains as they skirt on to the stage. You hear her announcing in pomp and splendor with a natural rhythm of Trinidad and Tobago. So you guys get ready for this. It's a wonderful story. It goes on to speak about the Caribbean Music Awards, which just happened. The inaugural Caribbean Music Awards 2023 was an unforgettable night celebrating Caribbean music's rich tongue twister there, Caribbean music's rich history, spanning many generations, and our very own Manrique made history as the first female selected to do the live announcement. So Trinidad and Tobago, once again, you are on the world map, and we are very proud of our sons and daughters who are doing beautiful and wonderful things in our space. in our region and, of course, the rest of the world. We will be right back with more Brunch, a Taste of Tobago. We look forward to our Ask Doc segment, our DIY segment, and, of course, our book club corner. Trust me, you guys don't want to miss this. We'll be right back with more Brunch, a Taste of Tobago.
So your car break down.
Oh, no, not again.
And you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa McCall Group.
Wait, I don't even have suit and thing for this wedding. Why getting them thing?
Call the port right over there.
Alright, thanks.
The Port Mall, where the varieties are large from your favorite stores, from restaurants to salons and from clothing stores to jewelry stores, located at Sanctus Hill, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number is 868-334-6589.
Wow. I didn't expect to see you here. Look good.
Thanks. It's all because of you and Port Mall. But here now I'm going to talk with you. You want to join me?
Yeah, that's okay.
Alright.
Beat the rush and come on down to the Port Mall.
Summerama, real steam for the summer at standard. Is a dream for the summer. Dreamy, steamy, standard. What you have? What you have? All the best deals, no drama. Standard be beat like a hammer. Go tell your friend, tell your papa, tell your mama. We got more. Standards have what you're searching for. Quality brand, discounts galore. New things for the summer, online in store. Summertime is here, so make the most out of it at Standard. Never beating on quality and price. It's nice.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Mount Pleasant Credit Union Back to School Loan Promotion. Loans up to 15,000. Requirements: job letter and a payslip no more than 1 month old. Utility bill, copy of book list, salary deduction, 10% down payment. For self-employed persons, evidence of income and expenditure, bank statement, 12 to 18 months. Other supporting document. Promotion ends October 18. Contact us at 639-8375 or 8108, or check us out on www.mpcutobago.com or email us at loan@mpcutobago.com. Mount Pleasant Credit Union's Back to School Loan Promotion.
And we are back, guys, with a brunch, a taste of Tobago. Thank you so much for staying with us, and thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful journey. As usual, we have our DIY segment. This beautiful, talented young lady is with us on set. But before I do that, guys, there is one column that I need to let you guys hear a little bit about. I'm going to the Daily Express at this time. Get ready for Scantivity. Creative professional Rachel Henry has designed and created an innovative learning tool that has the potential to make a significant impact on children's education and appreciation for the world around them. Crazy about the Caribbean is Caribbean First Scantivity book, which, according to Henry, blends the tactile experience of a physical book with the excitement of technology. This is something that you guys really want to take a look at. Our young users can use the book and their tablet at the same time. The activities also encourage an equal exchange between parents and child. I saw this column and I found that you guys needed to at least hear about it. So head to the Daily Express and read up on Scantivity, an innovative tool. And we are back to our regularly scheduled program, guys. We are here for DIY. And I'm joined by a wonderful young lady, Miss Shireen Sebro. I'm going to join her now on set. We are already getting ready to really do the do. I've been waiting for so long for this tie-dye segment, Shireen.
Yes, oh my gosh.
And it's like finally here. You know, so I just want to welcome you. Welcome to Brunch.
Thank you.
Welcome and giving us your time. We thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but before we do that, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about your business. Have you always been involved in creative design such as these? So just tell our viewers a little bit about you.
Right. So I am Kishona Shireen Sebro, and I am the proud owner of Shireen Tie-Dye.
Yes.
Right. So what started off as an SBA project at Mason Secondary School turned into what you're seeing here today. Right. So I did this when I was in 4th form for my SBA, and later, after I left school, I had this bag. It was not even with the warm water, with the cold water dye, right? It was with the hot water, with the wiki. And I love the bag so much. So while I was working at the library, I told my co-workers, I say, if I start to sell bags, will you buy from me? And they was like, yes. And one of my co-workers was passing and they saw a class, and I went to the class and I learned how to do the cold water dye.
Right.
And after that, when I went home, I tie-dye every single thing I had white. And that is how Shireen's tie-dye began.
Wow.
Yes.
You know, and Shireen's tie-dye, you know, just the name, just the sound of it rings off your tongue. It's like a rhythm.
Yes.
You know, and I've seen so many of designs that you've worked on, that you've created, and they're so beautiful. The tactile, the synergy between fabric and color is amazing. So, Gil, I couldn't wait for you to reach on Brunch at Taste of Tobago this morning. Before we start, let me just find out about your classes. Let's put that out there for those persons, because I know some of you want to learn this art. So just tell us a little bit about your classes, and then we can start with
we have classes, individual classes. The classes are $1,200. So we learn the different types of tie-dye, reverse dye, all these things. It's for 3 days, and when you're finished, you're going to get a certificate of completion, and you're going to be doing tie-dye like a boss.
Yeah.
Right? But you just need to, you know, practice to get it perfect. But you'll get the basic steps, and the colors will be nice and vibrant, just as by the street.
All right.
Right? And I can be contacted at 482-0412 if you're interested. And we are also Shireen's on Instagram, Shireen's tie-dye on TikTok and Facebook. So you can reach us there as well.
All right, just repeat the phone number again.
So the contact number is 1-868-482-0412.
All right. And when would the classes be held?
So classes are held based on the availability of persons and myself. So it doesn't have a scheduled time. So it's mostly I do one-on-one classes. And for like summer camps, I do summer camps as well, where I'll go in and I'll teach, you know, a group of children. That's based on the availability of
and that's
myself
basically, so it's like a first come, first serve
kind
of basis?
No, you know. You just state whenever you're available, and I'll let you know my schedule, and we'll work on a time.
All right. I like that. I like that. So she's willing, guys. She's willing to work on a time. Yeah? So let's get into this lovely segment, tie-dyes, this artistic young lady who stands next to me on the brunch set. So what are we doing today, Shireen?
Right. So today we are going to tie-dye t-shirts in red, white, and black. Right. And when we are finished dyeing them, well, we're not going to rinse it out on set, but it will come out just like this t-shirt I'm wearing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the X pattern. You could also use this pattern to make the Jamaican flag. Right. You know, with the yellow green, and black. You could also use this pattern. Right. So the t-shirts were already pre-soaked, because you're supposed to soak the t-shirts in washing soda for at least 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So they were already pre-soaked before I came. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put on our PPE. Right? And then we are going to make the pattern. I'm going to show you how we're going to make it, and we're going to tie-dye it together.
Okay. So PPE.
Right? So we're going to put on our gloves and our apron. Right?
Let me put this on. So for those of us who don't know, what does PPE stand for?
So that is your protective gears, right? Your protective equipment. Your personal protective equipment. So that would be like your gloves, goggles, mask, right? We don't need any mask now. Usually when mixing the dyes, I'll put on a mask so the dust particles, you know, wouldn't go into my nose or anything like that.
Right.
Because it might give person's reaction if they have sinus or something. So you just put on the mask to prevent that.
And this pass is over.
Yes. And tight to the back.
Ooh, I got aprons. We mean business today. Come, Shireen, tie this for me. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So we're getting into this lovely, I've been waiting so long. So let's go. What's first?
So we're going to make the pattern on the t-shirt.
Okay.
So I'll bring the t-shirt closer to you. So in order to achieve the X, first we're going to fold the t-shirt in half. Right? Fold it in half this way.
Like this?
Yes. Right? Make sure it's evenly in half. And then you're going to fold it in half again. Right? It's very simple and easy. Right? Right. So let me move this away. Place it. Right. Place it on the table. And we're going to start folding from the peak, from the point in here. So you're folding from this point in here of the t-shirt. So we're going to fold it diagonally. Here? Yes, we're going to fold it like this.
How big is the... Are you rolling as you go?
No, you're folding it forward and backward.
Okay, so forward.
And backward.
And back.
Right? So make sure it stays diagonally.
Like this?
Forward. Like that. Like that. Right? So we're doing it forward and backward. Forward. And backward. Right. Lovely. Forward and backward.
How am I doing? Do I have the pattern right?
You just help you there, right? Go ahead now.
All right, so I'm going forward.
And backward, right? So hold the bottom.
Hold the whole thing.
Yes, hold the whole thing, and then we're going forward and backward again.
Like this?
Yes. Right. So I am finished. So you need to continue going because your t-shirt is bigger.
So why you give me the big t-shirt, girl?
So I bring it so you can have it when you finish because you do it yourself. Let's start over. Let's do it a little bigger.
All right. I find mine looking... It's supposed to be a specific size or anything, or it's up to the designer?
No, but if you do it, it's up to the design. But if you do it bigger, you'll get it faster. Right? So you'll do it this way.
Do the other fold.
Right? Try to make sure that it's even. Go ahead.
All right. So this goes this way?
Yes. No, next way.
This goes this way.
This is already done. So you lift it up like this. So let me show you. I will take it out back and you'll do it. Like
no,
this.
just leave it. No. We're running out. No, just leave it.
All right, no problem.
So we're running out of time now. So
all right, no problem. Forward and backward. Right. And then we're going to put on the rubber bands. So
remember you doing this for
double the rubber bands. Right, and open it out. And then we're going to slide it from the top.
From here.
Right, slide it on.
How far down?
Right. Leave this first one right here.
So here's good?
Bring it to the end of the peak.
Of the fold?
Yes, of the fold. Right. So take another one. Slide it on from the other end.
And you're going how far?
Right by the end of the fold. Right. So you put in two more ones. Then put in one more to the top and leave a little space. Put it below where it is. Right. And then one more to the bottom here.
Make sure you hold everything.
Yes. Right, lovely. So we are finished. Right, so you're going to place it on your rack. Right, and the reason for putting it on a rack is so that the excess
let me use this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the excess dye will that run through will just it wouldn't smudge it. That's why I put it on the rack or anything that have holes or something to seep through.
Okay.
So in order to get it like the red, white, and black, just as how mine is, we're going to put the black here. So this part in the middle here is what forms the X.
Okay.
Right? So we're going to put the black here. We're going to leave here white, and we're going to put red on the two ends.
Okay.
And we're going to get the red, white, and black.
White, red.
Yes. So you could start. You could choose any color. So what we're going to do, we don't want to, I don't want you to dirty your clothes. So you're going to just put your hand on the tip, right? And bring it as close as possible. Well, you're going to do it in the middle, and I'll do it on the end.
All right.
Right? And then move it, and then you apply the line. That's okay. Right, let me just have some black on my hand. Right, so the dyes were mixed before I came, and you use urea and tap water to mix the dye. Right. Go ahead.
Start us up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everywhere. Let me stay on the front back.
Right, so you can squeeze the bottle.
I'm trying to be so careful. Oh my word.
Yeah. If you leave white spaces in between, it will have white spaces in the X.
Oh,
so if you don't want the whole thing to be saturated, you can leave white spaces. It's your design, so you can do as you choose. Right? And now we're going to use the red. Right, so you're going to put the red on the both ends.
Okay.
Now you pin it by the white space, but go ahead. It's already so.
How about one on this space right here and then the other side?
No problem.
You do the...
Right. So squeeze it.
What was supposed to be done in the
That's
first
okay.
place.
Right? So it's very easy once you get the gist of it. And it's also fun.
Yeah, it's
Kids
fun.
love when I do this at summer camps.
My daughter would love this.
Yes, they are really excited. And I give them the creativity to choose whatever colors they want, and I show them different patterns and they just choose it. Right? Lovely. So you could either leave it like this, or you could add more dyes. It's according to how saturated you want it to be. But because of time, you want to leave it like that, or you want to add some more color?
You can leave it like this.
Right. So that's it, and we're just going to put it in a bag.
Can I put some black here?
Sure, you can.
Just put some black.
And then we're going to leave it for 24 hours. So the dye needs time, heat, or both to set. So if you have heat, you don't need to leave it for 24 hours. Right? So the 24 hours gives it the length of time in order for the dyes to set and take the nice vibrant colors. And it also needs to be mixed correctly.
That's important.
Yes.
Because you have to have the right consistency going forward.
And it needs to soak it and stuff before. Right. So we're going to, that's it, we're going to bag it now. Right? You don't have to pick it up.
Oh, okay.
And just tie it and just leave it in a corner until tomorrow around this time. And then you're good to go. Rinse it out, iron it. So when you iron the tie-dye after it's finished, you see all the nice patterns. Iron it, gives it the finishing touches. And then you have your t-shirt to wear. Yay! So it's nice, easy projects. You know, you can do at home. And when you come to the classes, you learn a variety of patterns. You learn different tie-dyeing techniques and stuff like that.
So how do we mix the dye? What's the process there? Anything?
So we use pipe water, right? And we use what is called urea.
Right.
Right? You write some little white balls that it looks like sago. Right?
Where do we get?
You could get it from the plant, the agri shops as well.
Okay.
And I sell the products. I sell all the dyes and the fixtures, right? So we use, well, it have a ratio to use with the water and the urea. You mix that first, and then you put in the dyes, whichever color you want to use. You're going to mix it in individual bowls.
Right.
Right? And then you throw it into your bottles. Right? After you throw it into your bottles, well, before you mix the dyes, you'll put your items to soak. So while that is soaking, you'll mix the dyes, so, you know, to take up time. It wouldn't take up time. You make your patterns, or you can make some of the patterns before you soak it, according to what you want to do.
Right.
Right?
I think making the patterns before.
Yeah.
So you're guided on what you need to do, you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I like that.
for the more complicated patterns, you know, you would draw out your lines, make the patterns first, and then you could soak it.
Yeah.
Right?
So people came to you with like, you know, Shireen, I want a dress. So I want a signature piece. I'm going jazz. I want it.
Yes.
How long does it take? Let's say I come with a dress. Let's say I come with a flowing dress. Nothing too thin, like cotton or something. How long would that take you?
So it can be done in 1 or 2 days.
Right.
It depends on my availability. So I can do it in 1 day, but I'll tell persons like 2 to 3 days just to give me enough time because of my schedule. Right. So it can be done in 1 day because I know how to fasten up the heating process and all these things.
Right, and get it done.
But if we're leaving it the normal way, it will take 2 days because you'll leave it overnight for the 24 hours and you'll just rinse it out the next day.
Okay. And remind us again about your social tags, phone number, if anyone wants to get in contact with you. Well, I need some tie-dye pieces. So I'm just putting that out there. Shireen's tie-dye. Oh my gosh. Shireen is so talented. I'm so happy that she is with us today.
Yes.
And such a wonderful teacher. She's so, welcoming and accommodating. And tell us about your journey. Like, what have you done? What's anything that stands out during your journey doing this type of craft?
Right. So in 2019, I won the Youth Awards for Entrepreneurship.
Yay!
Right? My stuff like my neck pillows, bags, tote bags, and earrings, they went to Dubai for, I think it was Tobago Expo in Dubai. It got delayed because of COVID.
Right.
So the stuff went for that. I shipped stuff to the US, the UK, and recently, in the Commonwealth Games, a lot of countries, they bought stuff as souvenirs, so they went back to their country. I also do masks, right? So I also have a kiddies and a juve band, strictly tie-dye, right? And we recently added printing to our stuff, so you can come, persons will come and they'll be like, Shireen, it's my daughter's birthday and thing, and they want this print on it. So we will do the tie-dye and we also do the print, right? So these prints that you're seeing on screen, we do that ourselves.
Okay.
Right? It has been 8 years. The 12th of August has been 8 years since we have been in existence, and we are really grateful for those, who supported us along the journey, whether they shared our social media pages or the word of mouth, just congratulations, nice words of encouragement. We are really grateful and thankful for all the support that we have received. We have also been a part of TIC, right? Trade and International Convention held in Trinidad. And that was a pretty good experience. Right? I also supply some local shops, Things Natural in Crown Point. Right? I supply her with I only made those colors for her because she specifically told me that I need these colors and I don't want anybody else to make. I don't even make those colors for myself. Right? So if you want different pieces, you could check Things Natural in Crown Point. That's next to the ice cream place there on the junction.
On the junction there.
Right? So it's a lot of stuff that I just can't remember.
because you're doing
I'm doing so much.
Yeah, and just by being creative and doing your creations, in the way that you see that the style should be. What about jewelry? Do you do jewelry
we do
as
jewelry.
well?
Yes. So we Shireen, we always look at the next thing to, upgrade our business. So I did classes with community development. I am currently in the natural jewelry class. Last year, I did the bag making class. Trisela Joseph Myers was my teacher, excellent teacher. So the bags that you're seeing on screen, I made them. She taught me. I'm currently doing natural jewelry with Miss Lisa Henry, excellent teacher as well. Before that, I did drapery and stuff a long time, all community development. So I take up these classes and I add the skills to my business to better enhance my business.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you are not closed off. You're willing to learn. You're willing to keep up with trends.
Yes.
Because that is so important in staying relevant. Remember, you have to stay relevant in this type of industry.
And anything you think about tie-dye, we can do it. So we do sneakers, like anything, curtains, sheets. Just come up with a challenge and show in tie-dye already.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you're so loving your humility is very refreshing. Because you know, someone else could come in and not be as accommodating as you or as humble as you. And this is something that I always have to speak on, because I love to speak on the human aspect of things. We need to love one another, respect each other, you know, have that desire.
Yes, and before we go, I must shout out to my son, Nikolai Sibro. He's my amazing helper. He actually started... He's at school.
Oh, bless
he
his
actually
heart.
started helping me, so he actually did some tie-dye stuff. Excellent, came out well, you know, I ensure that, you know, the consistency and everything is well. He also do my videos on my social media. So he'll be there, he'll be like, Mommy, no, post, so do this, do that. So, you know, I must shout him out. He's at mostly every event. Once he does not have school, he's there with me, and I can leave him and sell, and he will sell like a boss. You know, everything, all the prices, so I must shout him out.
Yes. So Nikolai?
Yes, Nikolai.
Nikolai, super morning. And Mommy is very proud of you.
Yes, I am.
And she loves you very much. Keep doing what you're doing and stay positive and do your work at school. Listen to Miss, please. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So Shireen, thank you so much.
You're
much for
welcome,
coming.
and thank you for having me.
I like I said, I have waited, and you're finally here. You finally arrived.
And I am happy that I am here.
Yes, and we are gonna meet again, because I have to do some tie-dyes. She's so sweet. We're gonna be right back with Brunch, a taste of Tobago. But before that, guys, let's check out our trivia question for today. What was the most visited waterfall in Tobago before the Argyle waterfall? I'm going to say it one more time. What was the most visited waterfall in Tobago before the Argyle waterfall? You guys get to type in, you know the drill, and we are very, very, very eager to see the answers that you come up with. We are going to be right back with more Brunch, a taste of Tobago. See you guys soon.
Mamai Lakai Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now, 333-4430 at Mamai Lakai Home Services. We take cleaning to another level.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Mount Pleasant Credit Union present the Edgar Davidson Bursary Awards 2023. Awards available are SEA, CSEC, and CAPE. Tertiary, technical and vocational. Your requirements are complete the application form, student's performance report, or transcript. Applicants must be a member or a member whose child wrote an exam in 2023. Forms are available via our website or can be collected at our branch office. For further information, www.mpcutobago.com, marketing at mpcutobago.com, or call us 639-8902 or 8375. Deadlines for submission 15th of September 2023.
But this place so boring enough. We don't even do nothing. Let me go somewhere now.
I really want some new things, yes? Then look no further. Portmore is the place for you.
Oh, really?
Yes, you can have anything that your heart desires. Take a look for yourselves. A world of endless opportunities. Feeling hungry? Go get something to eat. Books and stationeries, games, and much more. Portmore, the island's beat.
Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Wait, I didn't even have suit and thing for this wedding. Why getting them thing?
Full of Portmore right over there.
Alright, thanks.
The Portmore, where the varieties are large from your favorite stores, from restaurants to salons and from clothing stores to jewelry stores, located at Sanctus Hill, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number is 868-334-6589.
Wow. I didn't expect to see you here. Look good.
Thanks. It's all because of you and Portmore. But here now I'm going to our wedding. You want to join me?
Yeah, that's okay.
Alright.
Beat the rush and come on down to the Portmore.
So your car break down
Oh, no, not again.
and you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa McCall Group.
If you see or know about a crime, report a crime safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
We are back with Brunch, a taste of Tobago. Now it's Wednesday. It's a beautiful day on the island of Tobago. And of course, Wednesday ushers in so many wonderful discussions. We have our DIY segment, which just passed. Shireen Sebro, thank you so much for coming. And our book club corner, which is coming up. And also, our Eye on Bagel segments that we do, our grassroots segments that we do. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, the Amplia Network. So I am very privileged, I'm very honored, and I'm all in all happy because this is like my new best friend. And I've been waiting for some time for him to come back to me, come back to Brunch, and let's talk. And today is that day, guys. Dr. Todd Denoon joins us again. Veterinarian extraordinaire, I like to call him. He's not just practicing the art of being a vet. He loves animals. He talks to them. He has like this amazing cosmic bond. It's something that you guys need to see for yourself. And he's smiling right now because he knows that is true. But Todd, oh my gosh, Dr. T, I'm so happy. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for giving us your time this morning.
Thank you for welcoming me back. I'm here. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So, we're going to be talking about heat-related illnesses in our lovely four-legged friends or feathered friends or friends of every animalistic nature.
Yes.
So let's go. Let's delve in.
Let's jump right into it.
Yes.
So it's very topical because, of course, we are in our rainy season, which means not just rain, but heat and humidity. And I mean, we've had the experience of July being the hottest month on record.
Yes, it was.
And more recently, locally, that we've experienced our hottest temperatures locally on the Trinidad and Tobago record.
Right.
So with that comes the added importance of looking at heat-related illness. And heat-related illness, again, umbrella term, for situations where you have hyperthermia or high body temperatures related to extreme environmental temperatures as well.
Right.
So what happens when you have extreme body temperatures is that our body is meant to function within a certain temperature range. And as adults, as adult individuals, whether it's an animal or human, we have all these mechanisms that we are able to manage that. But whenever there are situations where that cannot happen, and we have our body temperature rising beyond that range, things start breaking down. And why we say heat-related illness is because it really exists along a spectrum from the mildest heat exhaustion or heat stress. So you're feeling very hot, you're feeling very bothered, all the way up to the life-threatening heat stroke.
Heat stroke, that always gets my mind buzzing.
Yes.
I feel that it is something that we tend to take for granted even to this day and age. But how detrimental is a heat stroke?
It is literally fatal, right?
Wow.
So the term heat stroke comes from the fact that it also has stroke-like symptoms. So you have loss of consciousness, you have a lot of nervous system dysfunction, but you have a lot of other system dysfunction. So basically what happens with heat-related illness is that under normal circumstances, we regulate heat or heat loss through four main mechanisms. So one is conduction, convection, radiation, and evaporation. So below 32 degrees Celsius, which is no daytime temperatures this month, the first three is what is really the mechanisms by which we lose heat, which is conduction, that is being in contact with cooler surfaces. Then we have convection, that is with airflow or some sort of a fluid flow over us. So that is cooler and takes some of the heat away from us. And radiation, just being able to lose heat where we have our blood vessels close to the skin, opens up. And all of these things happen because the body temperature is very different to the environmental temperature. And that gradient, or that difference between body and environment, is significant enough for the heat to flow from high heat, relatively high heat, to low heat. But when we get to 32 degrees Celsius, that difference is narrower. And of course, that gradient, that means that heat is just not as excited to move from this place to that place because it's just not as different.
Right.
So above 32 degrees Celsius, evaporation becomes much more important. So for humans, cattle, and horses, that's sweating. So we sweat, and that sweat gets turned into water vapor. And when that water vapor moves from us, it takes the heat. For dogs, that's panting. So, right, so you see them open mouth, and because the oral cavity is wet and airflow is moving, that causes evaporation. But now we have a situation during the rainy season where it's so humid. So evaporation needs for water to move from our body into the atmosphere. But when the atmosphere is already saturated, where's that water going to go?
Yes.
So of course, everything is shutting down because all the three things that were happening before 32 degrees Celsius, not happening. And of course, the evaporation is also not very efficient. And what now happens is that the body can't lose temperature, and the temperature just keeps going up. And heat stress happens, or heat stroke rather, happens in temperatures where the body temperature is above 41 to 43 degrees Celsius. Above 43, it's a no-go.
Yeah. You know, and ecosystems and their importance to our flora and our fauna. And it seems as if we are in a turbulent type of existence right now, where nothing is happening the way it should, and it's not happening at the rate that it should be happening. So in terms of our physiological side, our animals, our friends, how is it affecting them physiologically with all these changes to our ecosystem?
So you have a lot of behavioral changes happening. So a lot more shade seeking. So animals tend to hang out in shade, just like we would. We would be using our umbrellas a lot more. We'd be using AC a lot more. Of course, animals don't have that luxury to do it on their own.
Right.
But you see animals being less active during the day, and of course more active during cooler times. All right, so those are some of the things that that animals and even plants are changing, because a lot of signals are changing, so behavior has to follow. But in terms of susceptibility to heat stroke, there are two main factors that really govern how heat stress can be set up.
Right.
So those are sort of factors related to the animal or the individual, as well as factors related to the environment. So in terms of the individual, which would be human or animal, specifically for dogs, those short snout dogs, like the bulldogs, we call them brachycephalic, brachy meaning short, cephalic meaning skull. Those dogs have a compromised respiratory system, and that airflow is just not as efficient. So evaporation is compromised. You're looking at extremes of age. So the very old dogs and the very young dogs are not as efficient in regulating their body temperature, so they are much more at risk. You're looking at obesity. So heavier animals or animals with a large body fat index,
body mass
index, they're also at greater risk. And then you have issues or medical conditions, comorbidities. So if you have compromised respiratory function, so you have a cold or you have chronic chest congestion, so you can't breathe properly, or your cardiovascular system, you have cardiovascular disease, so blood circulation is not going as it should. Or you have a fever, or any situation where you have a fever, so your body temperature is already higher. So as well as some hormonal situations or diseases that can affect thermal regulation. Those are some of the patient-related or individual-related factors. But of course, as we mentioned before, the external factors. So that would be extremes in temperature, so high temperature, high humidity. But for animals that are not in well-ventilated areas, animals that are extremely active during the day. So if you go to the beach and you're running up and down with your dog, or you have a hunting dog, if you're hunting them during the warmest times of the day, that is an issue. As well as animals that are muzzled for a long time, of course, for dogs. If you're muzzled, you can't pant, so that becomes an issue. So you have to be very careful. So another thing that is very important for animals as well as with babies, a lot of times you're traveling with your animals. They're in our cars, and you decide, okay, I'm just going to stop off at the drugstore for a quick bit. You jump in, the glasses are up, and you didn't realize that there's going to be a long line inside there. And you come back, and your dog is in this hot car, the glasses are up, temperatures have been skyrocketing, and this animal is now heat stressed, and hopefully you've gotten back in enough time so that a heat stroke didn't happen. So poor ventilation, environmental extremes, high activity are some of the environmental or conditional factors.
Yeah, and those factors are so important that if they are not managed properly or are not working to the optimal level, then we have all these problems emerging.
Right, and tying that back to your question about how we have the changes that are existing, is that our behavior now has to change. We have to be a lot more mindful of those external factors.
Yes.
So making sure that your animals have proper ventilation, as well as something that I forgot to mention is water availability. Having a lot of different water options for your animals. So if you had one bucket during the cooler times, you may have to put more buckets down in different places,
right?
Especially if you have an open yard. So wherever that animal has roamed to, they have cool, fresh water. And of course, the important thing is making sure that it's cool, because if you've tried to drink hot water, it's not refreshing. So make sure that you put it in shaded areas and things like that. But of course, as a pet owner, you have to manage some of those pet factors as well. So making sure that your dog is not obese, making sure that you manage any comorbidities. And of course, for those of us who like brachycephalic breeds, maybe moving away from them or stop breeding them, because they have a lot of medical issues.
Yeah, issues can arise, and that's just speaking to the physiological parts of our animals, the characteristics. And I have seen so many changes in animal behavior. A lot of animals now are doing nocturnal animals. I'm seeing them at very odd times. Is this because they are adapting? Is this ecological?
Yeah, so it's likely, so biology and nature is very complicated. So there may be a number of different factors that influence behavior from, as I don't want to say simple, but from environmental in terms of temperature and so forth, climate change. But you may also have certain human behaviors that are influencing them. So whether we've built up in an area that they previously didn't have human interaction, some of the runoff or pollution that may be in their environment, maybe noise pollution or even light pollution may be an issue. So now that we have more street lights in certain areas, the physiological effect of light on animals and their sleep cycle, their breeding cycle, etc., could change. So it's not just climate change in terms of temperature and weather pattern changes, but also some of our structural changes to the environment, some of the things that we don't often think about.
And I always have a story. Now, I
love your story.
Yeah, I know, right? There's always a story. I saw a rooster one time. He was just out, and it was very late. It was not like the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening. He was out really late. And I found that so weird. It seemed weird that he would be out at that time. What are some of the factors that would contribute to that? I mean, you just spoke about a human intervention. We're building houses, we're putting up street lights, and stuff like that. But is that also just ecological adaptation?
More than likely, it is a complex interplay. So as I said, nature is very complex. So while I'm not an avian specialist, I would say it's probably a mix of climate change as well as some of the more localized factors or environmental factors, such as the amount of humans in the environment, some of the other animals that might be in the environment, things that have upset this animal's normal flow of or normal behavioral patterns. So that might be what's going on there.
Yeah. And what's the conversation like, Dr. T? Are we being sensitized as pet owners, as pet lovers, about the dangers that we are now facing because of these ecological changes in the environment. Is the
Yes.
conversation heading in the right direction?
The conversation, I would say, is definitely heading in the right direction. I think perhaps because of my personal interest in animals, I follow a lot of pages that are related to veterinary medicine. But the fact that there are pages to follow that can tell you about your pet's health and some of the factors that affect it. So I think the conversation is happening in many ways, so more active ways like conversations that we're having now, but also on social media, a lot of veterinary practices, a lot of animal health institutions are putting out information. And I mean, I've seen a number of posts about heat stroke and heat stress because of this time that we are in. And the fact that, I mean, even the Ministry of Health has put out advisories for humans. So, I mean, we've been following that as well. So as things come up, many of the institutions that have investments in these different areas are also ensuring that education is happening, that conversations are happening, and persons can be aware. So it's out there. As individuals, we have to also seek out that information. But I'm happy that places like Tobago Updates can have these sort of conversations. So persons who might have tuned in for the DIY, here they are listening to this vet drone on about heat stress with his bestie.
Yeah. And cold-blooded animals versus warm-blooded animals. Oh my gosh. Let's touch on that, please.
Yes. So cold-blooded animals are animals that lack the ability to manage their own or to physiologically manage their body temperature. All right, so they have to much more rely on external or environmental factors. So those would be all reptiles, fishes, etc. So what they would do, you would see alligators basking in the sun, or the iguana basking in the sun to warm themselves up. As well as once they've gotten to that warmth, they then go about their activity. And even if it's too hot, you would see them open their mouth, so you have that evaporation happening, or you have them moving into shaded areas. So things like snakes, etc., are a lot more prone to having their behavior affected by environmental factors.
Right.
Whereas warm-blooded animals have the ability to regulate their body temperatures internally. Right? So those are birds, those are mammals, or cats, dogs, etc. We are able to manage that. But important to note that for many of those warm-blooded animals, when they are babies, when they are newborns, that system is not well developed. So babies are a lot more, or neonates, are a lot more prone to hypothermia, so that is very low body temperatures, and that can be very dangerous. And of course, very high temperatures. Their body can't regulate to start those things running to maintain that nice equilibrium, right?
So cold-blooded animals, are they as, just reiterating, guys, are they as affected by very humid conditions as our warm-blooded friends are?
To a certain degree, yes. But I think what will happen with a lot of cold-blooded animals is because their behavior is already much more targeted or much more in line with those with environmental influence, they may be better able to adapt than the warm-blooded animals who, especially pets, who large part of their behavior is managed by humans. All right, so I think wildlife is probably, whether it's warm or cold-blooded, because they've had that freedom to manage themselves, are probably a little bit better able to adapt than, of course, our domesticated animals.
Right.
But you do see extremes, especially for cold-blooded animals during winter time. So you have iguanas in trees falling out of trees because the temperatures have dropped so low that they've gone comatose.
Yeah.
And they don't have, they're not conscious anymore, and they fall out of trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's part of it. And of course, those things happening, especially with iguanas, That is an interesting thing because when that happens, it's because iguanas have been moved to those places.
Yes.
So they're not naturally made for temperate countries, but with pet trade and people wanting exotic pets, that becomes more of an issue.
Yeah, and I'm always so happy that you're here because the knowledge and the availability of just having you here as a person, your positivity is just like buzzing across the room right now. So it's always a joy to have Dr. Todd Danoon with us, and we are so thankful that you were here today. We thank you so much for being with us on Brunch, A Taste of Tobago. So we want to thank you so much. Our family to yours. Blessings and success in your endeavors.
Right. You're welcome. Just a quick thing. If you do see your animal having signs of heat stress, so that is excessive panting, loss of consciousness, you've noticed that your animal is out in the sun behaving very strangely, the most important thing you can do is start that cooling process. That is cool water, not cold, cool water, and then get them to a vet. It is really important to start that cooling process. And again, cool water, not cold water, and then get them to the vet.
Okay. And you heard it right here, guys, on Brunch, A Taste of Tobago. We're going to take a break. We're going to be right back with our book club corner. Joel Green George joins us with her guest, Mervyn J. O'Neill, accomplished author and historian. You guys do not want to miss that. We will be right back with more Brunch, A Taste of Tobago. See you guys soon.
So your car break down
Oh, no, not again.
and you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa McCall Group.
If you see or know about a crime, report a crime safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
But this place is boring enough. We don't even do nothing. Let me go somewhere now.
I really want some new things, yes? Then look no further. Portmore is the place for you.
Oh, really?
Yes, you can have anything that your heart desires. Take a look for yourselves. A world of endless opportunities. Feeling hungry? Go get something to eat. Books and stationeries, games, and much more. Portmore, the island's beat.
There's a new date for Tobago Swim Fest, September 17th, 2023. Come and witness the main event, the 4-kilometer swim from Pigeon Point to Buku Point. More than $25,000 in prizes. It's a family affair, so come out from 11 a.m. on the beautiful Buku Beach. There'll be swimming races, sandcastle building, and seafood on sale. Come and enjoy a fun day at the beach. Calling swimmers from Crown Point to Charlottesville. Registration on the day.
Inner Health, number 13B Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience, offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
And good morning and welcome to Book Club Corner. Thank you for being here with us, viewers in Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean. Thank you for joining us today. I am Jewel Green, and of course, this is Book Club Corner, where every Wednesday, right here on Tobago Updates, we talk to authors about their books, about the literary arts, and their love for the written word. And today we have with us a very special guest. He is the co-founder of the Slammer Sports Club. He is the founder of the Tobago Voice, well, founding editor of the Tobago Voice, as well as he is the chairman of the Norman McNeil Family Foundation. Let me tell you, he is quite a busy guy, and he by trade is a chemical engineer. We let him tell you about that. Welcome to Book Club Corner, Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you, Ms. Green, and to the Tobago Updates listening audience.
Yes. We want to get into this book. He has written a book called The Analytical History of Tobago. And let me tell you, guys, this book is full of information. We have to get into this today. We have so much to talk about. We want to get into it quickly. But before we do that, you know how we do it on Book Club Corner. We have some wine, and I want to thank our very kind sponsors. We have Neve from Eye for Design, and he gives us a centerpiece every Wednesday, a new centerpiece. And this one is lovely, 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 with some ginger lilies and ferns and a different breed of sunflowers. It's simply gorgeous. Eye for Design is in Lowlands, Tobago, and you can give them a call to make your order of flowers, interior design, wedding. They do events as well. And we want to thank Mainridge Wines for their sponsorship of this taro wine that we will be sipping today for our libation. Mr. O'Neill, cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
And to your health.
Thank you so much.
We do the 5 S's of wine tasting on Book Club Corner. And the 5 S's are that we see the wine. So we look at it for clarity, right? We swirl the wine. We look at the legs, the sugar content. We sniff the wine. So fruity.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we sip and savor. This one, you have to take your time with this one, eh? Take your time, Mr. O'Neill. And you all will know why I said that. Mr. O'Neill, I saw your name is
Mervyn J. O'Neill. And I said, wait, he has the same first initials as Michael Jackson. Do you mind if I call you MJ?
I have no problem with that.
I love it. It's such a cute name. I love your name, Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you.
So we want to get into this book. When I looked at the cover of this book,
Yes.
right, I saw a water wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered, what was the significance of you having a water wheel on your book, An Analytical History of Tobago? Tell us about that water wheel.
Okay. There are several water wheels around Tobago. This one actually is the one at Speyside. The significance of the water wheel is that the sugar industry to date is the only true industrial activity that has occurred on Tobago. I mean, we've had agriculture and so forth, but if we go over Tobago's history, the production of sugar and rum, and this started well into the 17th century, because the records indicate that in or around 1666, the Dutch had 6 sugar factories on Tobago. But the real sugar industry began in Tobago after 1764, when in 1770 actually, the first shipment of sugar left Tobago for a port in England called COWES, Cowes.
Okay, so you saw this water wheel as a significant, I should say, theme in Tobago's history in terms of this was our production.
Yes, it makes a statement as far as colonization and Europe was concerned. The sugar and rum industry on Tobago were really the economic things that attracted them and the way they put most of their energy. So sugar and Tobago do go hand in hand.
Yes.
Yes.
And as he says that sugar and Tobago go hand in hand, I'll tell you what, because we sweet. Okay? It's because we sweet. That is why.
Very good. Very good.
Mr. O'Neill, as I read through your book, MG, as I read through your book, I couldn't go one page, turning a page without finding a chock full of information, just insightful, useful information. This book is so filled of information. I wondered, how did you get the time to do all this work? Tell us about the kind of research that you had to do to produce this work.
Okay. Let me underscore that by saying, unknown to many of us here in Tobago, and I would dare say in the region, there is so much more information outside of the island and the region than are in our libraries and so forth, where they should belong. Having said that, in around 1983, I had moved to California, and I had finished what I considered my work in science. And so I said, well, okay, let me see what is written about Tobago, just read up on Tobago. And I could find very little. I found a little book by Carlton Ortley. I found, of course, Isles' work that was done in 1867 or thereabout, but thereafter there was very little done. And most of the research for this book was done at the USC Library in Southern California.
Wow.
Now, many of us refer to USC as the Harvard of the West Coast. In fact, most politicians from around the world go to USC to do their studies in foreign affairs.
Okay.
And so USC International Library has lots and lots and lots of information.
So you got some of the information you have in this book from there?
Most of it from there.
Wow, that is amazing. You know, as we talk about, you know, the history of Tobago and information and all of that, you know, we want to just put a plug out there. We need more information on Tobago, on the ground right here in Tobago. You know, we don't want to have to buy a ticket to go to USC, right, to get this information. And not only that, I mean, Mr. O'Neill has provided that information in his book, An Analytical History of Tobago. So you don't have to go to USC, but, you know, you should not have had to travel to get that information. It should be here in Tobago, and we want to make sure that we get that information here. And we have work to do to make sure that information is accessible right here in Tobago on the island. We had an author some time ago when we now started, I think it was episode 2, Clement Williams, and he has a book he's co-written, and the name of that book is The Disney Film Heritage of Tobago. And in that book, he talks about the film that the Swiss Robinson family film that was filmed here in Tobago. And there was a theme of piracy and all of that. And I read your book. You see all these tags here, people, this book? Let me just tell you, this book full of information. So there is a place in your book here where you talk about how highly organized and clandestine and endeavor piracy was. But then when I flip to the next page, I see that you have a table where all the pirates that are known to have set foot in Tobago are listed. Where did you get this information?
There is a particular book, and I may have it in the bibliography, I'm not sure, but that has all of the pirates of the Caribbean, and it's a whole book. Now, interestingly, what got my attention to in that book, one would be amazed to note that Boise Singh is listed as the last pirate of the Caribbean. Now you understand that book has lots and lots of information. I'm not sure it may be listed.
Let me ask you, as you mentioned Boise Singh. What Boise Singh are you talking about? Because my mother used to be telling me about a Boise Singh when we were growing up as children. Which Boise Singh are you
Boise Singh is the chap who did a lot of murders in Trinidad.
I know.
I think he was hanged for murder.
This is the same Boise Singh. Y'all, let me tell you, this Boise Singh, go do your research. He was no joke.
No joke.
Oh my gosh, the stories my mother had to tell us. She was from Caroni and he was from the area, right?
Yes.
So let me tell you, they all knew about him.
Yes.
They knew his family. So she gave me all the tea. We'll talk about that another time.
Correct.
But let me just tell you, this information that you have here about the pirates, I notice your book, even though, it's a great resource for persons who are doing academic research, it also is a great resource for persons who are doing creative research. If you're writing a film, if you're doing a book on Tobago, you may be talking about a fantasy fictional story about Tobago, and you may need some of this research, because let me tell you, he takes you right back in this book. And he talks about Captain Jean de Casse, Jean de Bont, Captain Bartholomew Roberts, Captain Fenn, Captain Thomas, and there's a long list. And I didn't even know we had all these pirates that had visited Tobago.
Yes.
Wow.
Let me make a quick connection there for you.
Please.
Pirates Bay in Charlottesville is connected there. The pirates were being chased down by the British, and they sought haven in that cove there at Pirates Bay in Charlottesville.
Oh.
Eventually, because of the rainforest, they ran into the rainforest and were able to elude the British Navy that was chasing after them.
Let me tell you guys, Tobago has a history that is every creative, every author, every fiction author's dream. Authors, I'm putting out a catcall, a bat signal to all authors across the world. Get here to write. There is a great creative energy and vibe in Tobago. I'm telling you, You need to get to Tobago if you want to write that bestseller book. This is where it's at, guys. I want to talk about, because we don't want to miss one thing. I tell you, I have stickies, guys. I have stickies in the book. There is a part in your book where you talk about the first treaty of Paris.
Yes.
And I know you said there are 3 of them.
Yes.
3 or 4? It's 3?
There were 3.
3 treaties of Paris. But this first one where you talk about, how significant it is to Tobago, I want you to tell our viewers about that and why it is actually significant to Tobago.
All right. Tobago was colonized by Europe for the first time in around 1634. And that lasted, as we call it, the first colonization. That ended in around 1777 when there was the French-Dutch War right here in Scarborough. After that, Tobago was considered a hands-off nation, a hands-off colony. In fact, I don't know the connection between no man's land, and I have a chapter in this book.
You do?
In this book entitled No Man's Land. Anyhow, between 1677 and 1677 and 1760, anyone could come in and go without claiming sovereignty over Tobago. But then, and of course, there were French and British and so forth. And then in 1764, as a result of wars across Europe and so forth, Tobago was included in a treaty between France and England. And in that treaty, France ceded Tobago to the British. Prior to that, it was what we may call no man's land. Anyone entered and they fought their wars and so forth.
Right.
And so in 1764, that first Treaty of Paris was signed between Britain and France, ceding Tobago to the British. And it is from that, we may call that the second colonization of Tobago, out of which the sugar industry and everything came. It took us all the way up to, we may even say, 1962, when the British finally gave us independence.
MJ, you have a vault up here. Yes, just open it, unlock it, and just information and date. Let me tell you, I would love to have had your brain when I was doing my history exams. You see how easy just pulling dates on it? My God. Anyway, I tell you, when I look at this this section on that first Treaty of Paris,
yes.
right? And it talks, so I saw that was really the pivotal the point in history that ended that 7-year war.
Yes,
that
correct.
Anglo-French war.
Correct.
And to think that at that time, that is when the British were awarded Tobago. So that is how we ended up in the British hands, right?
Yes.
And, that's significant because we look forward.
Yes.
We now start to talk about emancipation and independence and all of those things and how it affected and affected Tobago's
Okay. So let me
situation.
go a bit into that. Yes. Tobago was ceded to the British in 1764 by the first Treaty of Paris. But as fate would have it, by 1783, the French attacked the British on Tobago and captured the island.
Right.
And they held it for 10 years until 1793. And it is then through that second Treaty of Paris that again Tobago fell back into British hands from the French. But the treaty that placed Tobago permanently in British hands occurred in 1814. We'll call it Third Treaty of Paris. And that with Napoleon and all his matters in Europe and so forth. Because note, Tobago's history is tied into European history. I think that's one of the points I try to make with this work. Tobago, we heard Tobago changed hands 20 odd times, and the British were here, the French were, but it was never an isolated matter. In fact, I point out that even the Americans were trying to capture Tobago as a result of the war in England, in America. They had sent a ship down to capture Tobago from the British because the French and the British had sided against, the French and the British were at war over the United States. They were on one side of the war, the other. And they did send a ship to capture Tobago. Actually, the British sunk it off of Barbados.
Let me say, this is such a treat, guys. I'm a history buff as well. Such a treat and such a special time with this book, an analytical history of Tobago, for me to get into this with MJ. It's so sweet. Let me tell you, there is, when we look at the history of Tobago, when we look at, all the different ups and downs and nuances, and we look at this Treaty of Paris. I was in a workshop last Saturday, and we were talking about international law, right? And how, effective it is to islands and countries in terms of creating a kind of roll-down effect to their local laws, right? And the question came up, how effective is an international law and by extension a treaty? Because we see that with this first treaty, the French still came and captured Tobago from the British, even though they had all decided, right, through that treaty that they would honor this decision that, Tobago would be in the hands of Britain. So all of these things are so apropos to the discussion that we're having today in Tobago. Because, guys, we're having a discussion. It's everywhere. Every time you look around, we're having a discussion about these two themes, especially now, right? Secession, autonomy, the air bridge, the sea bridge, transport, goods and services. What is Tobago? Where is Tobago? Where is the Marine Board? All of these things we're having conversations about. And you have a chapter here, chapter 14, right? Annexation. And we have to get into that. Let me tell you, this chapter was so sweet. So I was looking at your chapter 14, annexation. And in chapter 14, you have here on page 248, right? Something you term the 4 waves of abandonment for Tobago, right? And when I looked at that, I just thought to myself, I said, wow, this was so amazing. Let me just run through this quickly with you guys. So MJ talks about the 4 waves of abandonment for Tobago. And he says the first wave, right? Because they weren't able to profit from unenforceable labor, the planters entered into sharecropping arrangements with their ex-slaves, left their plantations in the hands and care of agents, or turned their back entirely on the island. That was wave number 1. Wave number 2, guys, a second wave of abandonment occurred through investments, which were reduced, then dried up, right? No financier stepped in to fill a vacuum left by the bankruptcy of the island's main financier. That was the wave number 2. And then you have wave number 3 of abandonment. This occurred when the entrepreneurial edge left the island as planters handed it back to the British Crown in 1876. And the fourth and final wave that you have listed here, and continuing, you said. So this fourth wave hasn't finished.
No.
You said that this fourth wave is continuing, where occurred that the island and its people were tied to an undefined annexation with Trinidad. The West Indies was abandoned in pursuance of the new economic focus, but Tobago was abandoned as part of the West Indian story but also in a further relegation behind Trinidad. So we see here that you're talking about not just the abandonment of Tobago, but the entire abandonment of the West Indies
Correct.
as a viable economic option
Correct.
to bring revenue to the colonial masters. And
Yes.
that's one of the reasons when we talk about independence,
Yes.
we see that that was one of the reasons that led to them, letting us go very quickly.
Correct.
Right? And guys, I'm just going to drop a nugget here for you all, right? A lot of people are wondering, every time we ask for autonomy or we talk about secession or whatever, why doesn't Trinidad let us go since it is we don't have anything? They say we don't produce anything. Now, I am being the devil's advocate. Please don't come for me. And they ask these questions. And I always say, if something is not worth anything, you don't want it.
Correct.
Okay? So that's the answer to your question. I'll just leave that nugget with you. Let's think about that, right? But Mr. O'Neill, I want you to read for us, because I tell you, we love to be read to in Book Up Corner. And there is on page 278, he talks about the production figures. Do you have that? 278.
278.
Yes, paragraph 3. Paragraph 3.
After 1945?
Yes, could you read for us that paragraph 1938?
Oh, in 1938, Tobago shipped to Trinidad 3,394,200 pounds of cocoa, 3,465,500 pounds of copra, 1,730,700 coconuts, 6,000 pounds of tobacco, 7,600 gallons of lime oil. Together, these brought in 1,011,753 to the island's economy. In 1945, Tobago shipped to Trinidad sweet potatoes, tanias, plantains, pigeon peas, livestock, and poultry, which brought 230,604 in income to the island. By the dollar value of that period, these were huge amounts. For example, in 1950, an acre of land in Tobago sold for less than $30. In 2015, a lot of primary property in Tobago could fetch in the vicinity of $300,000. In 1950, Tobago shipped 877,681 pounds of sweet potatoes, etc., etc. All of this was enabled by the boat.
This is why I wanted him to read it. I mean, apart from all the figures, let me tell you. So apart from all the data in here, because we see that Tobago was producing hand over fist.
Yes, it was.
Hand over fist, producing just
it was.
Just releasing every day. I mean, look at these numbers. Tobago is no joke, and enabled by the boat, guys.
The boat.
Shall we speak of that? We have a few minutes before we wrap up, and I want Mr. O'Neill, before he tells us about his foundation, because I want you to get into that before you leave, huh? But I'm going to put you on the spot today. I have a few questions for you, Mr. O'Neill. MJ, tell us, what is your perspective, especially when we look in the context of your book, An Analytical History of Tobago. Could you tell me what your perspective is in terms of probably an autonomy conversation for Tobago, by extension, being the devil's advocate, a secession, because we're hearing the word bandied about. And could you explain to us first what that autonomy means and what secession means, the difference, if you can tell us about that, and tell us what your perspective is in that context.
Let me start as a descendant of the African enslavement experience. I am, in a way, a Pan-Africanist, so I am more about coming together than going apart. I support the Caribbean Federation, which fell apart. I have my views on that. It has to do with personalities and so forth. In fact, I've written a second book, the one on party politics, and I point to these things. Now, where Tobago and Trinidad is concerned, under the annexation arrangement, it was, okay, tied Tobago to Trinidad for economic and political, not for economic, but for political reasons. The British did not want Tobago to stay adrift, and they had an administration in Trinidad, so they tied Tobago to Trinidad politically, but an economic plan has not yet been worked out. Now, much of the talk on autonomy and so forth really has to do with that. Tobago has been in a state of stagnation since 1898 when annexation went into effect. Tobago today gets its budget and allocation from Trinidad. People being what they are, I mean, they take the easy way out. They don't have to work to produce, to make a dollar, to get into an economic arrangement. And so, in a way, the allocation, the annual allocation, is a trap in and of itself if we are not careful.
Right. But I want to know what your perspective is. I want to put you on the spot today.
No.
What do you think?
Well,
is it feasible? So this is gonna short me on. Is it feasible for Tobago to have more autonomy? Does that make sense?
Okay.
What's happening with that?
And bear with me if I don't answer your question in the yes or no fashion.
No problem. Once you bear with me as they put me off the set.
Okay. Now, we have to look at a society as consisting of its politics, its economics, and its psychological disposition of the people. Too much has been placed on our politics relative to our economics and our education. Now, having said that, if Tobago's economy was invested in, then the question of autonomy would go away.
Okay. I think that's enough said. As they say in the streets, say less. You have answered the question. Guys, we're out of time. I want to thank you for joining us here on Book Club Corner. Thank you to our guest, Mr. Mervyn O'Neill. Thank you for all the books he has brought. Let me tell you, you see our coffee table display. He has brought some phenomenal work that he's into, the Tobago Voice and the Crossover magazine. And he's bringing back the Tobago Voice, guys. So look out for that next year, he said, right? And the Tobago Writers Guild is going to get into that. I'm so enthusiastic. I want to thank our kind sponsors, Neve, I for Design, Main Ridge Wines for their kind sponsorship of our libation today. And Mr. O'Neill is going to just take us out by just letting us know how we can get in contact with him. He has an email address, and you can talk to him about all the information you have heard today. And you can get his books on Amazon, Abe Books as well online, and we're working to get his books in stores locally this week. And I want to thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Quickly, just give me a cheers and just tell the viewers how to find you as we close off Book Club Corner. How can we find you?
All right. I am currently involved with a planning committee on a conference on, as in about Tobago. That conference is due to come off next year. So we are in the planning stages right now. And yes, we are still open to new people who can relate to a conference talking about Tobago. Now, a leading member of that planning committee is the Civil Net NGO.
Awesome.
If you get in touch with the Civil Net NGO, you will find me.
Fantastic. So you heard it from his very own mouth, guys. Check CivilNet if you want to get in contact with Mr. Mervyn O'Neill. Thank you again. Tune in next week when we talk to another local author about their book, and we let you know who that is on Facebook. Cheers, guys.
Yes. Cheers.
over will never be better. With Tobago, carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home. The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Good morning. Put a smile on your... MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Is a dream for the summer. Dream is steamy. Standard. What you have? All the best deals, no drama. Standard be beat like a hammer. Go tell your friend, tell your papa, tell your mama. We got more. Standards are what you're searching for. Quality brand, discounts galore. New things for the summer, online in store. Summertime is here, so make the most out of it at Standard. Never beaten on quality and price. It's nice.
So your car break down.
Oh, no, not again.
And you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance. That's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa Macal Group.
With Brunch, a taste of Tobago. Thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful experience. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Brunch mid-morning show, of course, we seek to educate, we seek to empower, and, we seek to motivate and inspire you. And in case no one has told you today, you are special and you are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are hoping that looking at our show, that you feel just a little bit better a little bit brighter, and a little bit more positive as to what the day would bring and what unfolds on your journey in life. I'm so privileged to introduce our next guest. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to our sister from another mister, Miss Jewel Green. Thank you for Book Club Corner. Thank you for your wonderful guests. And thank you for enlightening and educating us on the history of the Tobagonian space, the Tobagonian Writers Guild. Thank you so much. And also for the persons, sons and daughters of the soil who are doing wonderful things. We salute you. And we thank you for your contribution to humanity. Thank you so much. And you know, I am so privileged. I'm so honored, you guys. This is something that I feel is very cosmic. And it's something that I cannot really explain. It's just a bunch of events that will align so peacefully and so candidly. You know, just the right place, the right time. And my next guest is described as the voice of the sky. Now, guys, this is a lady that needs to be highlighted, and she needs to be recognized for her amazing talent. A script writer, a keynote speaker, event host. Script writer, I have to go directly to that one. It's something that is a talent all its own. And so she has been a pioneer, a trailblazer, right here, as a daughter of Trinidad and Tobago. I welcome Aisha Manrique to the Brunch mid-morning show space, and it's definitely something that we want to highlight. All right, so we have a wonderful video of Aisha doing her thing. You would hear a very distinct voice, a captivating presence and resonance, tone and quality, and of course the rhythm that is Trinidad and Tobago. So we go to a very unique video. We just want you guys to take a look. And we're going to be speaking candidly with Miss Manrique, Queen Manrique, when we return.
Chow, W Fresh, Faith Calendar, Farmer Nappy, GBM, International Stephen, Jada Kingdom, JW, Kabaka Pyramid, Kali Red, Kai, Kess, Cranium, Leon, Major Hype, Massive B, Michael Rainey Jr., Mona Scott Young, Morgan Heritage, Maya, Nyla Blackman, Nelly Katoy, Renee Nuva, Ricardo Drew, Romaine Virgo, Rupi, Sarani, Chanel Muir, Shireen, Skeng, Skinny Fabulous, Spice, Stone Love, Tanisha Scott, Tedison John, Tony Ann Singh, Tony Materan, Tosh Alexander, Verjon, Wanda Tima, Wayne Wonder, with honors going to Barris Hammond, the Buju Banton Foundation, David Rudder, Marshall Montano, with a special tribute to Mika Ben, and a salute to selectors and sound system culture. And now, your host, 3-time Grammy Award winner, bringing you hits like Someone Please Call 911, Books Don't Lie, Maria Maria. Please welcome the man himself, Wyclef Jean.
Brooklyn! Pull up.
Yeah, and that was the CMAs for 2023 Caribbean Music Awards. The ceremony was such an impactful one because it just celebrated our Caribbean artists and creatives in a very dynamic and unique way. Like I said, the Caribbean is unique, our culture, our history, our art. And so we express those fundamentals in a very, very unique way. So that was just some footage that we were showing you on what would have happened in that space, in that time, Caribbean Music Awards. Aisha Manvik, I'm so delighted to speak with you. I can't wait. So guys, I want to welcome Aisha to brunch. Oh, oh, my lady, my lady, my lady, my lady. Queen Aisha, how are you doing
Wow.
today?
I am excellent, Janelle. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for such a great introduction.
You are most welcomed. I have to say this, the CMAs, that is a class by itself. If I had to talk about it, I would be here all day. But
Yes.
I was so proud. And this is how things happened. Listen to how this lined up, okay? So I am watching the Caribbean Music Awards, and a voice comes on as the voice in the sky, or the voice of the
Yes.
sky. And there was this resonance. That is the first thing that stood out. There was a resonance, there was a tonality, there was a rhythm to the way you were speaking. You made anyone and everyone who wasn't interested, you made them want to stay tuned. That's what we got. And I said to myself, okay, I need to find out who this person is. And then, boom, my producer calls, and I'm interviewing the person today. So you can imagine how those events just seemed to line up in such a cosmic type of way. But Aisha, I'm so proud of you. I love it when our sons and daughters are representing, and representing well, representing professionally, and who are unapologetic and unafraid of sharing that Trinbagonian rhythm with the rest of the world. But how did this come about? Let's go back just a bit before the CMAs. How did this come about with your journey with vocal coaching and vocal acting? How did this come about, Aisha? Let's go back a bit.
Sure. All right. My journey started over 22 years ago. And it's a testimony for me. And this is what I say to anyone that approaches me for advice. You have to be able to go beyond your fear and your insecurities and your imposter syndrome, because we all face it. We all face it. But it's important that you don't allow it to cripple you. Now, I was selected to represent my secondary school that I attended so many years ago, Gasparilla Composite, and I was asked to represent the school to speak on issues influencing the youth throughout the Caribbean. At this conference, we were given a challenge where anyone was asked to just come on stage to speak. As I always say, in the movies, you have the good angel on the left and you have the creature on the right.
Oh, yes.
And the good angel is saying, you got this. Go ahead. You can do it. And then the creature with the fork comes up and say, oh, no, you won't. You better sit in that seat. They're going to laugh at you. What you going to say? And I was battling internally. What should I do? Should I go? And thankfully, the good angel won, because on that day, that is where the doors of communication from a broadcasting perspective, voice acting perspective, opened up for me. When I stood on that stage, the presenter asked me to create an ad on the spot, no preparation whatsoever. The audience got completely silent. My heart rate started to increase, and I was like, okay, what am I going to speak on? And then I said, okay, I'll be a perfume. And I just switched modes. And then I switched again for the announcer voice, no preparation for the script. And from the moment I finished that challenge, the entire audience was on their feet, clapping, making a whole heap of noise. And at that moment, Janelle, that's when I realized that, okay, I have a knack for this, clearly. And on that day, I received a scholarship to pursue writing and voicing commercials along with broadcasting. And I never looked back. I never looked back. I continued to invest in myself, invest in my craft over the years, prepared demos, knocked on doors, sent emails, make calls, believe in the gifts that God gave me. Because when we have a gift, God gives each and every one of us a gift. But we have to honor that gift by going, by sometimes staying up late at night, waking up early on a morning whilst your friends are partying and having a good time. You have to remain focused on where you are heading. Sometimes if it's you alone, believing in your dream, you have to follow your gut. You have to believe in the gift that you have, and you have to honor it by being consistent and being patient with yourself, trusting the process, and the stars will align for you. I'm a living testimony of that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And one of the things that stood out about what you said, Aisha, you are bringing in the importance of your spirituality being connected so intricately into your art. And we express ourselves through our art. It is something that is ordained. It is something that is bestowed. And this was definitely your moment. That was divine intervention right there in front of you. And you had the choice. Do I step up or do I cower and get wrapped up? And you chose to step up. Yeah? And the rest, as they say, is history. You are definitely one of those voices. I told you about the rhythm, and I did not know who you were before I heard you speak. And the resonance kept me, and I know a lot of other people, watching. We could have turned the channel and found another video or something, and we chose to stay. And that was because you invited us so well. Your voice was very cosmic. It was something that was pulling us toward you. And it was so ironic that I'm looking at the CMAs, and then the information comes to me, hey, you're going to be talking to that person. So I'm so privileged and honored to be talking with you. But let's get into... Yes?
It's the power of voice, actually. Exactly. I love how you phrased that, because that is the power that we have. And there are so many persons that are walking the streets that have the gift, but aren't aware of what their voice can do. Your voice takes people on a journey. But it's not just about having a good voice. It's what you can do with it, understanding the cadence, understanding the resonance, how to breathe your diaphragm, the use of the inflection and the tonality, and how to engage and keep persons coming in. Because you have to reel them in with your voice. It's an art, and it can be learned. So you are very correct.
Yes, and you did just that, and plain blank, point blank, period. That is what you did. But the CMAs, how did this happen? Because Wyclef Jean was one of the hosts there, and you guys must have had an interaction. You must have had a conversation, and he is the type of person that is really receiving of young talent and receiving of persons who are doing positive things. How did this come about, this conversation?
All right. So one of the things that I am very intentional about, and this is also great advice for your viewers, you have to be very intentional with your brand. Yes, we are a dot in comparison to the other countries on the globe. Yes, we are from Trinidad and Tobago, and that is a privilege and it's a blessing. But you can't think local. You have to think global. You have to think international with your brand. You have to be intentional with the way you interact. You have to be intentional with your social media presence. You have to be intentional with the persons that you reach out. Sometimes you have to be brave. You have to be bold. It boils down to being intentional with the world. You have to make the world your stage, and that's exactly what I did. So Obviously, the CMA committee would have a pool of voices that they would use with regards to the different promotions leading up to the event. I was one of those voices as a result of positioning myself internationally, thinking beyond our local borders. Because if you want to have certain opportunities and you want to be able to be placed on the international platforms, then you have to position yourselves internationally, create your website. Again, you have to intentional. You have to invest in your brand. It takes work and it takes time. It's not an overnight process, but it is possible. Technology has made it possible. And because I was one of those voices, again, similar to how you described it, Janelle, they loved the resonance of my voice. And many weeks of meetings, months, I would say, of meetings and preparation. Obviously, the format for an awards ceremony, you would have your host, you would also have your live announcer. So many conversations later, they decided they would have a pool of voices, yes, but I stood out because, again, it's not just about the talent, it's about the other aspects that help you to stand out as a creative. I'm talking about your customer service delivery. I'm talking about your level of professionalism. I'm talking about your humility. I'm talking about your ability to take feedback. I'm talking about your ability to prove to your valued clients that they can trust your brand, they can trust your talent, they can trust your skill set. And these are the combinations combined in addition to my talent that would have given me an opportunity. Months after meetings, I would have received the official invitation to be the voice in the sky.
What was it like hosting? What was that experience like for you, Aisha?
It was unlike anything I've ever experienced because I am no stranger to productions. I recently was the voice for Queen Laja Blessed character for the Prime Minister's Best Village competition. So
Wonderful.
productions, yeah, these are things that I really and truly become alive in these spaces. And this, however, was a different ballgame. I was stretched beyond measure. And there were moments where I felt like, wow, would I be able to physically keep up with this? Because there were moments where there was no sleep. 48 hours straight, no sleep, because some of the content was pre-recorded. I spent a lot of time in the studio pre-recording stuff. A lot of things were live as well. But between the scripting as well as the voicing, researching the different artists, trying to have an appreciation for their style, which would help me in terms of my delivery as a voice talent, because you have to do your research. You can't just go on your mic and just sound the same. No, you have to bring a different flair according to the category, according to the artist, according to the mood that you're trying to convey, and you have to keep your audience engaged. And I'm doing that without them seeing me, but just hearing my voice. So whilst Wyclef would have had an advantage because he's on the stage with the mic and he was able to use his body and be totally animated to keep the audience engaged, I, however, just had the power of my voice, which was just enough for me because thankfully I would have gotten a lot of great feedback where persons were totally blown away by each announcement I gave, the announcement of the nominees. So I remain so thankful. That night was such a surreal moment for me, Janelle. It felt like I was representing Trinidad. That moment it wasn't just for me. It was for everyone in Trinidad and Tobago. It was for all voice talents that, wants to be able to showcase their skill and wondering if it will ever happen, wondering if it's possible. I'm here to say yes. If I did it, you can do it too.
Stood out. The Guardian had a wonderful story on you, and it said Aisha was created to create.
Yes.
And that just summed everything and anything about you. Those few words in that sentence. You were created to create, and you did just that. What is next for Queen Aisha? What's next for you?
I love that title.
Yes,
What
you
is
are a
next
queen.
for me? Thank you so much. Thank you. I received that. What is next for me now? I tend to be guided a lot by God. I make no apologies about that. I definitely want to be able to continue teaching students about this craft because personally, I believe that the voiceover industry is the best industry to be a part of. I would have lost my mother and my brother within a short period of time to death, unfortunately. And this craft helped me to be able to tap into so many different characters and enter different worlds and be able to express myself, express my pain, express the different emotions through my voice. It is therapeutic as well. So what's next for me is the ability to teach other persons how to tap into that. And I want to be able to be and continue to be an inspiration to others who are trying to figure out how to navigate their space using their talent. So definitely teaching. I want an academy to teach voice talents throughout Trinidad and the Caribbean diaspora and just continue to use my gifts as best as I can.
And you said it so well. Just continue using your gifts. That is your stamp, that's your blueprint, and that is how you impact humanity positively. And we just want to thank you so much, Aisha. I am so very proud of you. I feel like a proud sister in a moment right here. And I love that you are unapologetic of your Trinbagonian roots. You take that ambassador hat and you fly it so high. And we are so thankful that we have persons like you who are doing such positive things in this diaspora, in this world, in the region. And from our family to yours, we wish you nothing but blessings and success in whatever you endeavor to do. Thank you so much for joining us, Aisha.
Allow me to say thank you so very much to you and your wonderful team and your viewers for having me. And I just want to leave you guys with this. I always say the only limits that exist are the ones that you place upon yourselves. So
I love
continue
it.
to push, fight for your dreams, remain in faith, remain humble, stay focused, and make the world your stage. So thank you so very much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us. And there you have it, guys. That was Queen Aisha Manrique, sought after voiceover talent, the voice in the sky, a representative, an ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago, and she hosted the Caribbean Music Awards. She was chosen from a very large pool of voiceover talents, and she emerged the reigning voiceover queen. That's what she is in my book. So that's it for brunch today. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us again on Friday, and we're going to have such an amazing time. But before I go, let me just revisit our trivia question. And yes, we did have a winner. A trivia question was so wonderful. I was so glad that somebody got the answer. What was the most visited waterfall in Tobago before the Argyle waterfall? And of course, the Kings Bay waterfall. That's the answer, the Kings Bay waterfall. And our winner for today was Mr. Andre Allard. Congratulations to you. So that was brunch for today. From our family to yours, we wish you nothing but peace, love, and light. And we will see you again on Wednesday for more brunch, a taste of Tobago. See you guys soon and have a wonderful day.